Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is you tune into this. My name's Candace. I'm a psychic intuitive. If you're new here and you're not really sure who you're hearing on this microphone, if you're not new here, welcome back. I have gone down the quantum entanglement rabbit hole, and I want to take you with me because the knowledge that I gleaned from this experience has helped me tremendously in ways that I don't know if I can articulate. And it was such an intense thing when I when I recorded the original video to this that I didn't even do an introduction. I kind of just got right into things. So I'm going to do a proper introduction. The sound might be a little bit different when you'll hear the transition in the video, and of course the video itself will change because I have some imagery some illustrations to go with what I'm explaining. But I wanted to start off with helping us understand what quantum entanglement actually is. It's not something to be afraid of. If there's entanglement, there's disentanglement. It's just the awareness of it, for me, was so fascinating because truly, on a deeper level, where our focus goes, energy flows, and that's the truth. And this is not about worrying that you've done something wrong. Let's not come from a place of fear. Let's come from a place of knowledge and personal authority. So what is quantum entanglement in the most simplest of terms? Quantum entanglement is the phenomenon where quantum physics, where two particles become so deeply connected that the state of one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. Distance, time, and even physical separation don't break this connection. They become part of the same system. What's really interesting is, if you think about, let's say you're out with your friends or you go to a family something, that environment will immediately shift you in one way or another, okay? That's not quantum entanglement, that's like just environmental entanglement, right? That's because they're in your field. But these are the kinds of things that happen beyond space and time. Okay, they kind of happen on an energetic level. So let's go into the energetic terms. For sensitive, empathic, or psychic people, quantum entanglement is when you unconsciously become energetically fused with people, places, timelines, beliefs, or emotional frequencies to the point where you feel things that aren't yours. You carry the pain of others as if it's your own. You can't tell where you end and they begin. You respond to unspoken thoughts, trauma, or karmic residue from others, okay? And this tends to sometimes have a negative interaction if we don't know how to disentangle. We understand, especially if you've been sensitive for a while, or you're empathic or psychic, you know how your gift works. You know that the gift allows you to do what you got to do. But it's the disentanglement part that we don't really that's a little bit harder because we're not really taught that. So hopefully you'll get what you need out of this video. How it happens is the trauma bonds, ancestral lineage patterns, soul contracts or karmic ties, unconscious empathy, absorbing someone's field, sexual or romantic energy exchange, over-identifying with a role of healer, fixer, savior, right? If you're wanting to heal somebody or fix them or save them, you're constantly tapping into their field, and your field is changing as a result. So why this affects sensitive people more, okay? So sensitive people tend to have more porous fields or more open centers. They merge naturally with whoever they're around or with their ideas or whatever they're tapping into, especially if there isn't a sense of groundedness or consciously anchored into their own energy. They might confuse attunement with absorption, pick up on multiple timelines or versions of someone, feel responsible for healing what they sense, which deepens the entanglement, okay? What it might feel like in the body is a tightness in the shoulder plexus or chest, emotional overwhelm without clear cause, thoughts or cravings that don't feel like yours, exhaustion after interactions, feeling haunted by certain people or moments, no matter when they happened, trouble making decisions or feeling foggy. And that's not to be confused with surrender or waiting for something to come forward, okay? like I said at the beginning, the good news is that if entanglement is possible, so is disentanglement. And unlike cutting people off or suppressing your gifts, disentanglement is about returning to energetic sovereignty, reclaiming your field, essence, and clarity, love from a place of freedom and not fusion. And if you subscribe or like, you'll be notified. This week, I'm actually going to take you through little shorts of how you can practice disentanglement. So each day, I'm just going to release a little short video to give you something to work with in disentangling yourself from energy from the past, from the future, from other timelines, from people, and what have you. And just as a caveat, for those of you that are on the sacred union journey or twin flame journey, quantum entanglement sounds very similar to your journey and to our journey, I should say, because I'm also on this journey, but it is not the same thing. There's something else. It's completely different because there's an oversoul connection. But this is just to old energy that no longer serves and how we entangle ourselves with it, innocently. And so in the original video, which is we're about to transition to that, I speak to what that's all about and where we kind of get stuck, holding on to old energy that we don't even realize. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys. And here we go. Hey everyone, I just understood quantum entanglement in a completely different way, and I wanted to share it with you guys so you can do whatever you want with it. This isn't about controlling things. This isn't about, fixing things. This is more of just awareness and how it shifted me. All right. In order to understand quantum entanglement, this is specifically for those people that are psychic, sensitive, intuitive. We have an ability to reach into multiple dimensionalities, okay? At any given time, we feel and sense everything so deeply, and our tethers are always sensing and feeling, okay? And when that happens, it can be very overwhelming physically, emotionally, and mentally. And we might not even be we might not even be leaning into the physical reality that we're in, okay? Because we're capable of reaching energetically across dimensions. We exist in multiple dimensions, okay? If you don't believe that, if you struggle with that, this may not be the video for you. And I don't want to project onto your beliefs if you don't believe in any of this stuff. If you don't, this may not be the video for you. So please practice discernment and honor your own resonance. I just want to share what came through because I felt like it broke me out of a cage and I can't hold that in. So I'm going to talk about the 3D, the 4D, and the 5D, but before I get there, I need to talk a little bit about quantum entanglement. And how, if you look at yourself, there are versions of you that exist that are lower frequency and versions that exist in higher frequency, and entire worlds that exist in those frequency with you at the center of the universe, okay? Because technically, based on how our perception works and how everything is, we are the center of our universe. I want to preface that this is not about. We're going to talk about some of the beliefs that keep us stuck, like thinking like we're responsible for our external environment. We don't even know that we're shifting between dimensions 99% of the time. This is not about blame. This is not about fixing. This is just about awareness and poof. Anyways, okay. Understanding also that the people you love have multiple versions of themselves too. And I think it's important to understand what we've been indoctrinated into. And this is just, I gotta say, for entertainment purposes only. And this is not medical advice or, again, practice your own discernment with your fully developed brain. Okay. This is sort of about understanding what it is we're picking up and sensing and how we're behaving because of that. Okay. So I'm going to look at the physical dimensional realities and their narratives. Now, there are people out there. There's this woman on TikTok called the Guru. She articulates quantum entanglement so beautifully. I really want you guys to go and look her up. I'm not sure if she has YouTube or Instagram, so I apologize, but she was so good at explaining it. Um, just how it all works from a science perspective. I am not a sciencey person, so it would just sound with my, Pisces Mercury, it would just sound all garbled, but okay, let's look at this. Let's first start with the third dimension, okay? The quote unquote real world. And let me tell you, the third dimension labeled itself the real world because it had to be the only thing that was real in order to lock us in. It's fear-based. It's a fear-based reality. It's what most of us have grown up in, was that fear-based mentality. We have illusion, right? Tricking people, mind games. Um, it's so interesting. And pain, constantly trying to feed pain to feel something because natural feeling has been completely wiped out. Trauma, intergenerational, personal, all kinds of different traumas, but not fixing the trauma, getting stuck in the trauma loop. The trauma mantle is what I call it, handing down the mantle, but not never really letting the trauma go. Okay. Attachment to things, to people, to titles, to money. Can't live without it. Okay. Shame, shaming people, fear of being shamed, kind of like you're not allowed to be human and make mistakes, right? Very um lack, constantly this messed up relationship with money or not having enough, right? We've got poverty in there, guilt, using guilt as a means of controlling, right? We have hijacked identity. These are things that we've all witnessed or experienced or whatever. It's an icky place to be, but it's important to understand this particular reality, okay? In a different way. Hijacked identities are where we think we have to play out certain roles. Okay. In the upper frequencies of the third dimensional world, we have spiritual people there with this like savior complex and ego complex. We have those in all different aspects of life, right? Humiliation, humiliating people for the sake of entertainment is fear inducing, and it's low frequency, right? Drama, constantly, like the people, like this is like, I love the internet, don't get me wrong. This is not an all or nothing. Again, all or nothing. This world is all about all or nothing. The internet's bad or it's good. It can't be anything in between, right? And but I see people looking at stories that are worlds away and have nothing to do with them, and just feeding the drama of that, or the drama of gossiping about people, and completely unaware of themselves, just continuing to create suffering, right? We have the influence agenda, influencers convincing you that if you have this one thing, you'll be happy, but you never really have that one thing because they don't actually want you to be happy. They want you to keep buying things to try and fill that void, right? There's no self-discovery here, even though sometimes they use nice words, okay? Interference, interfering with our natural rhythms in all kinds of ways, okay? Food, air quality, news out, all this stuff interfering. We have distortion of the truth, keeping you out of yourself, keeping you in separation from yourself, from others, us versus them. And we have scarcity. So we have all these things that we, for the most part, if you're here, you probably understand about the 3D world and what we don't like about it, and what it's really exposing itself with right now. Okay. Then we have the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is a physical reality. It is not something that is made up in people's minds. It is not this, whatever it is. It is based in love. It says, I say, quote unquote, new earth, because there's no one alive today that's ever experienced it. There hasn't been anyone alive in thousands of years that has fully experienced the integration of new earth. Okay. But we all feel it in our heart and soul. When you start to wake up, you start to feel the resonance of that earth within you. Okay. We have abundance, we have acceptance, we have healthy attachment, we have integrity, we have naturalness. So healthy attachment is like where you're attached to something, but it's for the greater good of yourself and all those involved. Like there's a connection with that attachment that is going to bear fruit. Okay. We have joy, we have awareness, we have truth, honoring one's path, honoring other people's paths, coexistence, inclusiveness, not for the sake of showing people that you should do it. It's a naturalness. This earth is being the most natural state of humanness. Allowance, clarity, union, enrichment, cohesiveness, and expansive influence, influencing for the sake of genuinely expanding in whatever way we need to, right? There's just this, there's also community. I don't think I put community on here, vibrancy, vulnerability, right? Tolerance, imperfections that we accept, like just this natural way of being. Like it's, I don't know, you know what your fifth dimensional world looks like. Here's the really interesting thing. This is what came through, okay? Because between the third dimension and the fourth dimension or fifth dimension, we have the fourth dimensional bridge. This is where people get stuck. This is where I get stuck. This is where everybody gets stuck because we want to experience New Earth, but we think we have to save the 3D in order to have it. The 3D cannot be changed. If you take anything from this video, it's to remember that the 3D cannot be saved. It is exactly how it's supposed to be. It's designed that way. It is not for us to change it. We do not need to change it in order to integrate New Earth. We have to let it go. And one of the conversations that I had, I was grateful for with my friend Kara, was about as scary as it is to not be able to save this world we've only ever really known in the physical reality. It's the one thing that's actually going to allow us to live into life in a much healthier way. So the 3D wants us locked in, but most of us don't belong there. Okay. We actually know what our soul is calling for. We can continue to traverse the bridge into the fifth dimensional. So if you're here, most likely most of you are here. And what happens with this is you might be watching. We've been taught, even by the spiritual community, listen, even spirituality has been hijacked by 3D algorithms, okay? We've been taught that if you're observing something, you're not in it. But that's not how quantum entanglement works. Quantum entanglement means that where your focus is, the energy flows. So you have an exchange of energy with what you're observing. So even though you reject it and you don't like it and you have these feelings about it, you're entangled energetically with whatever that is that you're focused on. And this isn't focus. So where your focus goes, your energy flows is not the same as the outer reality is yours in the making. Okay. Our outer reality, creating our physical reality, that's master level shit that we're not there yet as human beings. There are very few people I've ever seen that could even do that consistently, like every day. Okay. But on the fourth dimensional bridge, we have saving, fighting the narrative, old paradigms, but with new language, like old business structures of capitalism and, taking advantage of people, but using the spiritual community, like, or thinking that, you have to save everybody, right? Like there's something, but you're still deeply attached to that world that you're trying to save, but that world it's in its final stages. It's ready to be released. It doesn't need to continue to exist. The physical reality and the one we crave will give it but I see, because I'm getting tripped up because in my mind, right? And just the awareness of what I'm experiencing with this is like, oh, it's all we've ever known. Like, I don't want to lose these people. I don't want to lose, like, it wasn't all bad and blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing saying that the good stuff that we know of the 3D or what we've experienced in small doses wouldn't exist in the 5D. So it's sort of like understanding if we can just continue to be aware, observe your own narratives, what you believe about yourself, or what you believe about being a good person, or what you believe you have to do. Like, these are deeper things that will entangle you energetically with what isn't in alignment. Um, you know, it's like, how do I put it? Quantum entanglement happens when we think we belong to something we don't. And then the process of disentangling is becoming aware of where we're caught up in certain things because we think we have to be. Like, I have a lot of friends and family that are still very 3D based, is what I would call, like, let's say unconscious. And here's the deal. Unconscious people don't belong to the 3D world either, right? Just you don't have to wake up spiritually to belong to 5D Earth. That is also a belief that just so we think, oh my God, we're gonna leave these people behind. Who's gonna help them? Blah blah blah. They got their own people helping them too. They got spirit, they got source, they got their higher selves in their own way. They may not understand spirituality in the way that most of us do, that let's say that would watch this video or understand even the multidimensional realities, but they have their own guidance that they're honoring. And so letting go of the need to save people because we don't think they can save themselves, that's also a very 3D narrative. It keeps you stuck, it keeps you trapped. Kind of just letting things go. As far as like manifestation and stuff, like this is not something I've mastered. But when we become aware of the tethers to the realities we don't align with and cut them off, we actually open to more. It's not about seeking to be better or more or what you desire to come in. It's about unentangling yourself from the constructs of identity and beliefs and behavior so that you can surrender to what needs to unfold. So let go of needing to check in with the only world you've ever known so you can experience what you're more in alignment with. Because I have to tell you, the moment I had this epiphany of where I'm like, oh my God, I keep thinking I have to stay connected to this world because I think this is the only world that has like the people that I love in it, or the good things in life. Like it's such a mind F, if I'm going to be honest with you. But it's like when I realize that I don't, like, versions of the people that I love exist in all these different dimensions too. I don't have to keep checking in and tethering to the lower frequencies as if that's the only way I can connect to them, just because it's the only way I've ever connected to them. So something is definitely brewing. And while I know that I don't have control over any of this, it does make me feel better to let go. So if that serves you, then fantastic. I hope that this has helped, and I'm sending you all so much love, and take care.